Hey, what's poppin'? Thanks for checking in. It's the young boy Flacco Aries you tuning into. And look, this week the big news is that Lewis has rejected the contract with Mercedes, and he's now officially a free agent. A lot of heat is on the subject right now, and I'm seeing shit that I think needs to be cleared up, so I'm gonna give my 10 cents on the subject. Okay, so the biggest reaction I'm seeing is people be saying that Hamilton is in hot waters because Russell had a phenomenal performance in Bahrain, which justified giving him a drive in Mercedes as Hamilton's replacement. I think y'all tripping to think that if Mercedes wanted to replace a driver, it finna be Hamilton. Like, are these media outlets serious? If you're gonna replace a driver, it's gonna be Bottas. First of all, Bottas don't even got the pace to match Lewis. If Lewis gone, Mercedes finna go to shit. You need to recognize what it means to be a 7-time world champion, man. The confidence of Lewis in that car, I mean, he finesses that car when it's not performing well. And you can see that with Bottas. He's unable to extract everything out of it. As Lauda once said, God gave him a great ass. And I think exactly that's what Lewis got. His feel for the car is unquestionable. And that's why you see Bottas hasn't been able to beat him once in the 4 seasons. You've seen what it took for Rosberg. The guy retired immediately after winning because Lewis got mad talent and he puts the work in. And that's near impossible to beat. Now, I know some of you are going to say, well, Russell did just as well in the car as Lewis's replacement. And you don't need to pay somebody $40 million for someone who wins because of the car. Let me clear something up that y'all aren't understanding. There is no money in the world that can replace a loss the next year. The reason Mercedes are hesitant right now is because they're sitting on 7 consecutive constructors and they're expecting Lewis in the next year. If Lewis is not given a drive and they lose next year, who do you think is going to be blamed for the loss? Is it going to be Russell? No, hell no. He just came in the team. Bottas and Mercedes and everyone will recognize that Lewis is the key that brought them those champions all these years. This guy's consistent as hell and you just don't see that in other drivers. I mean, look, back in 2018, you've seen a 4-time world champion Sebastian Vettel crash out in Hockenheim because the consistency of Lewis Hamilton breaks you down as a driver knowing someone is chasing you down. Sebastian Vettel had a phenomenal year that year. And the moment and the drive before that race, right, Britain, it was Lewis Hamilton who made a mistake. But the moment you mess up, Lewis Hamilton is going to seize that chance and he's just going to take you over. And even Max has said this in a pre-race interview at the Sakir Grand Prix. You want Lewis because he will make the difference in the most crucial moments. And that's why he's a 7-time world champion. And going on a side note here, I've noticed this with Max this year, and that is he talks about Lewis in a more positive note. And you'll realize that with the respect he has for him as a driver when he's breaking all these records this past season. But anyways, this topic can be said in another video for another day. Going back to this topic, Lewis Hamilton is worth the $40 million contract for what he's asking for because he pulls weight. I think Mercedes knows this, and my prediction in 2022, I think they're going to get rid of Bottas and they're going to put Russell in because that secure performance is really against Bottas. It shows you that 1, Russell got the talent, and 2, he can beat Bottas on race day. I mean, have you seen him on race day? He couldn't even overtake him, and that was Russell's first time in that car. And that's reflective of his contract as well. Mercedes only offers Bottas 1-year contracts because they don't think he's good enough for longer. And a single-year contract puts pressure on you as well. And when you just do as expected, well, you're just going to get another year and no more. Ever since Rosberg, Bottas has been that driver number 2. And it'll only make sense to replace him and put Russell as a driver number 2 against Lewis. Bottas doesn't have what it takes to become number 1. And there is no way if Russell and Bottas are on the same team, there won't be conflicts. Russell is too damn good to concede as a second driver against Bottas, but he will against Lewis though. So why are there even doubts about Lewis getting his contract signed? Well, for one, I think it's because Toto has been pushing this and delaying it and saying how they'll get it signed during the break before Christmas. Second, the fact that Lewis has become a free agent shows that he knows his value and Mercedes needs to pay for that. So these two are fundamental reasons why this is so newsworthy and why everyone's covering about it. Plus, anything regarding Lewis Hamilton is newsworthy and raises more clicks and revenue for any company out there than for any other driver. There's a reason why you pay several million for good drivers and only a couple $100,000 for rookies or average drivers. They demand the respect given in monetary payment for their contributions to the team. And Lewis deserves this money. I don't care what anyone else is saying right now on the news, saying that that's too much, or COVID, or Russell's being the replacement. No, he deserves this, and I'm sure Mercedes will get it to him in time. It's just about where to find this money. Alright, that's my take. Thanks for tuning in. I'll check you guys out in the next video. Peace.